Hi everybody, my name is Kiera, and today I'm going to be taking you through some breathing exercises to optimize the way that your body moves, your endurance, and just your overall breathing mechanics. Because for something that you do all day, every day, through your whole life, if your breathing is dysfunctioned, it's going to cause a lot of issues. So today we're just going to take a lot of observations for how we're breathing, and we'll go through a few exercises for improving those. So our first position is going to be seated. So go ahead and find yourself a chair. I don't recommend sitting on the ground because most people tend to fall into some pelvic tilts if they sit on the floor. So go ahead and find a chair. And we'll start with one hand on our belly and one hand on our chest. Don't worry, we're not gonna meditate here. We're here for science, okay? So as we breathe, you can open your eyes or close your eyes. And as you breathe, I want you to notice which hand, your top hand or your bottom hand, which hand expands first. And which direction does it go? Do you feel the hand on your belly moving out or moving in? Or moving up or moving down? And same thing. What do you notice of your top hand? Out, in, up, down. We're going to breathe through our nose here for 3 breaths, just noticing that. So I'll ruin the surprise. It should have been your hand on your belly that expands first, chest second, then the hand goes down, and then the hand on the belly goes down. Hopefully that happened for you. Next, we're going to take that same pattern, but we're going to breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. 3 breaths, in the nose, out the mouth, noticing if that's different beneath your hands, the sensation beneath your hands. So 3 breaths. Okay, so just being aware of if that changed anything. Now we're going to do in through the mouth and out through the nose. This one's going to get trippy. 3 breaths in through the mouth and out through the nose. P.S. I don't recommend doing this one ever again. Okay, you might have noticed some dry mouth and a lot more movement through the chest, right? That's why we don't want to do that one. Last but not least, we're all going to be the famed mouth breather. We're going to breathe in through the mouth and out through the mouth. And it should terrify you what your body does. 3 breaths. So, maybe you feel lightheaded, maybe your mouth went dry, maybe your shoulders shrugged. Those are all things that we normally avoid, right? Okay, glad we had that talk. We're going to go through similar patterns, now standing. So go ahead and just stand up. We're literally going to go through the same things. 1 hand on the chest, 1 hand on the belly, everything through the nose, 3 breaths. Taking good note of where that sensation was beneath the hands, which one expanded first. Then we move on in through the nose and out through the mouth. 3 breaths. noticing that difference. Then we have in through the mouth and out through the nose. Again, after we do this, don't do it again. Okay, just like we did before, taking note of how that felt different. And then last but not least, in through the mouth and out through the mouth. Classic mouth breather. Okay, we felt those, yeah? For this next one, wow, I'm actually a little lightheaded after that one. So, moral of this breathing video is try not to breathe out of your mouth or in through your mouth, unless you're being chased by a lion. Next one, we're gonna be lying on our belly, and I really encourage you to get your phone to film this because it's a little harder to breathe and sometimes what we feel doesn't match what's happening in our body, right? Right. So, we're gonna lay on our belly, and you'll set up your phone so that it can see your whole spine. Sacrum, low back, mid back, upper back. My hands are gonna rest underneath my forehead. And all we're gonna do here is breathe normally. And we'll take this for about 4 breaths so you can get a good video. Okay, when you finish with that, stop your video, and I'll tell you what you're going to look for now. So as you watch that video, and I hope that you took it, because it's really important to be able to see your own body, think in your head for a moment, what do you think should inhale first? If proper breathing is to inhale through the belly and then through the ribs, think about what part of your body you should see rise first as you're laying prone. And it's actually your low and mid back. So you should see low, mid back rise, and then breath through the ribs, and then that should kind of unravel, right? So low back, ribs, ribs, low back. If that is not what happened at all in your video, go ahead and try it again and see if you can consciously control the breath to kind of inflate the low back and mid back, and then inflate the rib cage, and then undo that. Okay, so working into sort of a longer and more sustained breath, we're gonna be breathing to a particular pattern. So ensure that around you, you have enough space for about 4 steps, right? You'll need like 1, 2, 3, 4, just enough space to be walking around. Before we even begin, let's establish our walking pattern of a figure 8. So find a little floor pattern in which you're turning to the right, and then turning to the left. If this makes you dizzy, you can also just walk forwards and back and take like a pivoting turn. But if this feels good for you, let's go ahead and take one more. Walking normally. Okay, so our pattern here for this breath is going to be 2 steps to inhale, and we're gonna start with 6 steps to exhale. So it's not by time, it's by steps. Inhale 2 steps, exhale 6 steps. We're gonna do that for 4 rounds, then we'll come back and you'll assess whether you need to lower your count or raise your count. So on your own time, 2 steps for inhale, 6 for exhale. Okay, so coming on back after about 4 rounds, we're going to do a quick retest or sort of an exploration of our extension. So go ahead and lift your head up to the sky and notice if that is a good range of motion for you or a really bad one. And if you're dizzy, don't even try it. Yeah? So go ahead and take a little bit of extension. Notice how comfortable that is. Now, we are going to raise the amount of reps that you're going to do of your exhale. So still 2 steps in, 1, 2 steps in, and let's go for 8 or 10, depending on your comfort. So on your own time, same figure 8, 2 steps in, 8 steps for the exhale, or 10 steps for the exhale. After 4 reps, come on back. And to take our retest, go ahead and extend. Wow. Yeah, so I don't know if you noticed, my body really enjoyed more counts. If your extension was worse or it was scary, go back to the 6-second exhale. And if it was better, go ahead and try 10, right? So this time we'll try for 10, or you're going back to the 6-step exhale. So we'll take this as a last round. 2 steps in, 10 steps out. Nice and controlled, slow exhale through the nose. Last one. Okay, come on back. Take an extension up towards the ceiling. If it's better, great, you have your pattern. If it's worse, take it down a notch. Yeah. Okay? Yeah. Please make a note of how that went for you, and feel free to reach out with any questions. We are going to end with one more exercise for the diaphragm. Now, as you inhale, the diaphragm contracts and pulls down, down, down to make a lot of room for the lungs to fill, right? So that means that on the exhale, the diaphragm should actually be relaxing or releasing. So even though the abdominal wall is pulling in on the exhale, the diaphragm is actually relaxing. So go ahead and come on down to your back. First time that we do this, our arms are going to stay down to the sides, and you're going to make a sound that sounds like you're dying, okay? So take a full inhale down here. And as you begin to exhale out of the mouth, lift your hips and tilt your pelvis in a tuck. When you have no more breath left, let that release. Your face might turn red, you might get hot, you might feel like you're going to gasp for air. That's the point that we want to get to. Yeah, so we'll take a few rounds of this. Arms by your sides, pelvis is going to tuck. Exhale out the mouth and lift your hips. Releasing in between and coming back to a normal breath. And we'll take one more. If you really do this in a very deep and real way, you should feel a deep stretch kind of near the mid, like in the mid back at the bottom of the rib cage. You should feel a nice deep stretch when you're at the very last bit of your exhale. Last one. And release. That felt fabulous. So, again, that is an exercise for allowing the diaphragm to relax. And even though your body took a lot of tension to do so, being able to relax the diaphragm every once in a while is very important, because everything that we do in efficient movement is a balance of tension and relaxation. And if we're always tense, then we're being very inefficient. So think about your breath as something that can fully release and can be very much engaged. Yeah, I hope you can take a lot from these exercises, and I hope that you learned a lot by watching yourself breathe. Thanks for joining me today.